Hi everyone. In this short video I just want to explain what the catch-up phenomenon predicts, and the next video will explain why it predicts this. Alright, so the phenomenon of catch-up just means this, and we'll just illustrate it with a couple of examples. So, for example, the United States in 1960 had a relatively high level of real GDP per capita, which we're just going to go ahead and call the standard of living, which is down here on the horizontal axis, and it grew relatively slowly from 1960 to 2012. Okay, in terms of real GDP per capita. So the U.S., put the U.S. right down here. Okay. In contrast, countries like Japan and Germany, which suffered a lot of damage during World War II, grew very rapidly from the 1960 to 2012 period. Well, albeit they grew unevenly, they grew much more rapidly from, say, 1960 to 1973 or to 1990, and then slower afterwards. Nevertheless, it wouldn't be too far off to say Japan was up here. Relatively poor in 1960, right? So income per capita was down here, but they grew relatively fast from 1960 to 2012. Whereas the US was relatively rich in 1960 and grew relatively slowly from 1960 to 2012. Okay? Well, for us, we'll just go ahead and pretend 2 points determine a line here, and I'm going to try to do this as a straight line, but I might fail. This is the prediction from Catchup which basically says countries that are relatively rich grow slowly and countries that are relatively poor grow quickly. Okay? That's all the phenomenon of catch-up is. It's just making a claim. Okay? I'm not saying whether this is what actually happens or not yet. I'm just saying this is the claim of catch-up. Poor countries grow more quickly than rich countries. As a result, their level of income per person eventually catches up to that of the United States, or that of the richer countries. Alright, in the next video we'll just go ahead and try to explain why the phenomenon of catch-up might exist using the aggregate production function.